Ukami Fuyuko, a tall slender white-haired girl, wearing a face mask, also nicknamed the Wolf Girl for reasons we'll see in a minute, thinks she doesn't belong to a group, she prefers spending her time on her own. But, it's not like she doesn't want to be with anyone at all. Ukami runs into one of her acquaintances, a boy named Makiba, who has a monotone look on his face. He asks her if she's also eating at the cafeteria today. They look at the menu together, he asks her what she will have to eat. She says that she'll get the fried chicken set, which convinces him to get the same thing. They sit down at a table noting that it's always busy here. While eating, Makiba strikes up a conversation with Ukami. He asks her if she always eats at the cafeteria, her response being that she sometimes does, but usually she buys her food from the convenience store, after which she asks him the same question. His reason for being at the cafeteria today is the fact that he forgot to take his lunch with him. He keeps staring at her, making her feel that he has something to say. Curious, he then asks if she always eats alone, thinking that the food you eat by yourself would just be kinda tasteless. She says that she doesn't really care, it's the same food even she eats it by herself or with someone. Makiba seems to be impressed at how cool Ukami looks, saying how she always does her own thing, but she says that she's not that cool and that it's just easier to be alone, at which he fires back with the same thing. He gets up and goes to get a tea refill. After this monotone exchange between the two of them, you would be left to think that she just wants to be left alone. But she is in fact overjoyed at the opportunity to eat with Makiba. She can barely hold her smile in, saying that eating with him indeed makes the food taste so much better, and even him calling her cool is enough to make her heart race. He comes back with the tea, even bringing her one. She immediately calms down, trying to maintain her cool persona. He sits back down, saying that the food in the cafeteria is delicious, but she can barely think of anything else besides him, while doing her little tail wag, which is the main source for a nickname. The next day, when leaving school, one of Ukami's classmates asks her if she wants to stop by Starbucks, not sponsored. She flat out denies her, saying that she feels like going home today, leaving her classmate feeling rejected. But apparently she just values her time. But on her way home she sees Makiba looking at an advert board and asks him what he's doing. He says that wanted to try this new Starbucks drink he saw, but today he forgot his wallet at home. She all of a sudden finds a better value for her time, telling him that she also wanted to try their new drink and offers to also pay for his this one time. He thanks her, saying he'll pay her back tomorrow, but he can instead get her something next time. They both go their own ways, and after taking a turn, Ukami immediately ducks down and covers her face in embarrassment, saying to herself how that was like an after-school date. She absolutely loves this man. Another day at school, the teacher announces that today he's changing everyone's seating plan, and calls them out to draw lots for finding out their new positions. Ukami's current seat neighbor bids her farewell and tells her to not forget about her. She asks if there is any specific seat where Ukami would like, but she seems to not care, saying that it's the same seat, no matter where it is. Her friend then mockingly tells her that she's very cool, leaving her with a bit of a sour taste in her mouth. It's her turn to draw. She goes up to the ballot box pretending to not care. But in fact, she is trembling, wishing to sit next to Makiba. Knowing he got number 32, she reaches in the box and pulls a paper. Miraculously she gets the seat next to him, again looking like she doesn't care. But once again she is ecstatic, her tail wag coming out again and wishing things would stay like this forever. Ukami has just woken up. While she goes downstairs she overhears the TV talking about horoscopes. She is a Capricorn, and the forecast says that today's not their day when it comes to love, and it's advised they stay away from it. It also says that her lucky color is blue. After hearing this, her dad tries making fun of her, saying how he's heard that her love life is at its worst. But she pretends it doesn't matter, and besides, she doesn't care about her horoscope. She gets to class, exchanging greetings, and swiftly moving to her seat. Like always she lied. Her horoscope today hit home and she doesn't want to get involved with Makiba for the day, saying that she'll try to avoid him. But Makiba calls her name and says that she has some lint in her hair, offering to help her remove it. On a normal day she would probably be more than happy letting him get it for her, but today, she gets up and says that it's fine, she'll go to the washroom. While looking in the mirror, she questions her own actions today. Regardless of the horoscope, she seems to be heading in the wrong direction by herself. Her wolf tail looking extra sad. She decides to forget about that stuff. She goes back to class and asks Makiba if she got all the lint out of her hair. He confirms that it's all gone. But he also notices that she has different earrings on today. He compliments her, saying they're cute, and Ukami just thanks him for the compliment. She's very happy he noticed her blue earrings that she picked this morning due to the horoscope, her tail springing back to life after its earlier sad state. Ukami is looking around in a convenience shop when her friend sees a limited edition candy only sold in that particular store. She tells Ukami about how tempting it is to buy it, but she doesn't really care about that stuff. Her friend Jing slightly disappoints, saying that it must be tiring to go against the flow of normal society. She gets at Shul, greeting Makiba, when she notices something on his desk. It's the candy her friend was just talking to her about, after which he asks her the same question her friend asked her earlier, about the candy being tempting to buy. Her view instantly changes, as expected of her around Makiba. He offers her some of the candy and she happily accepts it. Of course, coming from Makiba, the candy is a gourmet meal to her, changing her opinion of limited edition stuff. Later, after school, she goes back to the store to buy some of the same candy, but sadly it's already sold out, making her wolf tail sad again. Ukami is in sports class when some friends call out to her. They ask her to play ping pong with her, but she turns them down, saying she needs to go to the nurse's office. They ask her if she's feeling sick, at which she responds that she just needs to lie down a bit. She walks into the infirmary, but to her surprise, in there already is Makiba. He asks her if she also got hurt. She is worried about him, asking him what happened to him. But he just got carried away while playing basketball and fell on his face. She notices that he also has a cut on his hand which he didn't see before. She offers to disinfect it for him. He insists that it's fine, but she is having none of it, getting to work on his hand. He thanks her for helping him, saying that it's fine now, she did enough. He also tells her that she's been very nice to him already, and is feeling a bit guilty. But she tells him to not worry about it. She goes back to class, leaving Makiba to wonder why did she even come to the infirmary in the first place. On the way back she meets the nurse, who asks her what's wrong, at which she replies that she just felt a little sick. The nurse invites her to take a rest, but she says that she all of a sudden feels better now. Once again wagging her tail and blushing because she got complimented by the guy she loves. A week has passed since Ukami moved seats next to Makiba. She wants to talk more to him. Even tough they are sitting next to each other, she's only said hello to him. The class starts and it looks like Makiba forgot his textbook. He asks her if she can share it with him. She is surprised that he can somehow always forget something, but takes this opportunity to talk to him about something. He moves his desk next to hers, which gives her a bit of a shock, and only after the fact he asks her if it's alright to come closer to her. They are sitting close, almost touching each other, when Ukami finally decides to strike up a conversation with him. She turns around trying to ask about a problem in their textbook, but Makiba is sleeping like a log. The class just started but he is already passed out and she didn't even have the opportunity to talk to him about anything. But it's not that bad since she can now admire Makiba's sleeping face while wagging her cute tail. On another day, Makiba has accidentally bought a can of black coffee instead of his usual juice. He asks Ukami if she would want it since he can't drink black coffee since it's too bitter. She accepts it on the pretext that she can drink it no problem, and he's glad that it didn't go to waste. They crack open a cold one and start drinking. But once again she lied, she also can't drink black coffee, she just said it to try to impress him. He stares at her, making her think that he noticed her forced drinking. But after a while he just asks for a sip. He couldn't drink it before, but now he thinks that maybe something changed and wants to try it again. He takes a sip, but nope, nothing changed, he still can't drink it. He gives her the can back, but she realizes that if she were to drink from this can it would be an indirect kiss. And from that day on she started to like black coffee. Ukami is sitting at her desk when all of a sudden someone covers her eyes and asks her to guess who they are. Ukami immediately recognizes that it's her friend Sumika, who is always bothering her for some reason. She asks Ukami if she wants to have lunch together with her, at which she responds that she already ate. Seeing as that failed, she sits down next to her and tries finding out what she was listening to. She tells her that it's just a band she likes, but doesn't want to tell her friend what band exactly. She asks why not. Ukami's reason is that different people like different things. In this case, her friend proposes a trade. They should trade bands. She again shuts her down because she doesn't tend to listen to anything people recommend her, adding that she tends to like it more when she finds a band herself. Her friend finally gives up and leaves, leaving Ukami alone. Right then, Makiba enters the classroom while vibing to the highest degree possible. He sits down next to her, taking out his earphones. Surprised, she tells him that he was really feeling that song. He looks at her lost. He forgot that he was even at school while vibing to that song. He says that he really likes that song and invites Ukami to listen to it together with him. In a single flash, her stance changes, and she accepts without a second thought. He gives her one earpiece to put in her ear. She puts it in and immediately realizes that she's sharing an earpiece with the guy she loves, which instantly lights her up. He starts the song, and while she seems to absolutely love it, she realizes it's a ballad and this guy was headbanging earlier, to a ballad.